what really moves me to teach the Dharma is Dharma to me means touching the source of everything. And what is the source of everything? So that was the question that also brought me to the Dharma. What is the source of everything? What is God? Yeah, this question I couldn't answer. So by discovering what is the source of everything and what is on the same time found in everything, I was kind of like incredibly moved, like into the very depths of my heart. And it was like a very life-changing experience. So from there my whole life started to change, like outwardly and inwardly on the same time. And when I discovered that, in that moment I felt like this I want to show everybody, that beauty that is to be found there in the depths of everything and in the depths of my heart and in the depths of everybody's heart. And that is what moves me to share the Dharma, to share, like to help people to discover what is the source of everything, what is, we could call it God also, and what is like this love that comes from there, that primordial love. Yeah. So sharing that love which is flowing from there, that's what's kind of most important for me. And the happiness and the joy that naturally flows from there. So to connect people back to that, that's what's important for me. Well, meditation is kind of like a bridge. So meditation does not need to be the bridge for everybody, but it's kind of like a major gateway to discover that love and that source from which all this like love and joyfulness and happiness naturally flows. So that is why I would encourage people to meditate, to kind of like, not as something you should do, but maybe something that speaks to your heart, that you feel like I want to try or I feel drawn to. And I want to try if that could be a tool that's helping me. But on the same time, it does not need to be a tool for everybody. There are so many different ways. And it can easily also go a completely other way, without meditation, totally in the world, even as a politician or as a businessman. So meditation could be something that's still then helping, but can also stay completely out of the picture. But to me, meditation was like a major gate to come to stillness inside. Because through that stillness, we are able to see what is real, what is really there, instead of what our mind tells us about everything. And that stillness is providing the ground to discover the source of what I was talking about. To discover what is God, to discover what am I in all of that, and to discover that there is no separation between me and that source. Well, basically I just try to help everybody to find its own way. And eventually in a retreat you can find out that meditation is not your way, but what is your way? And most helpful I found to be in one-on-one contact with a teacher And through that, it's kind of like a reflection is possible with the teacher on what is the mind of the specific person do to overlay constantly this like nature, this nature, like this nature that we already are, like our true nature, it's sometimes also called, yeah? What we are in our deepest core when we are natural, when we are fully us, basically. So in this one-on-one, it can be seen what is it that the mind is doing to overlay that. And these concepts, the mind is constantly kind of spinning to make kind of like a veil before the source, so we can't see it anymore, can come slowly down. So a tool is meditation, a tool is like to find the help of a teacher, a tool is like a specific kind of method, a tool could be also to change my life so that it's kind of serving that purpose. And very important, it is also to have the help of just friends who have like the same interest, to discover like what is really important for me in life, and do I really like want to discover what is there in the core of my being. Yeah. So first of all, it's not a learning, yeah? We are not learning the stillness. The stillness is already there. The stillness is just overlaid by the mind. And the mind is constantly playing games, so that the stillness is kind of not being seen. The stillness cannot be seen. And we are so used to it that it's kind of like a constant movement in the mind. Like a constant, sometimes it's like a subtitle that kind of like moves over the pictures we see. But the subtitles are so big that we don't even see the real picture behind anymore. So it is more about seeing what we are doing so that we are not seeing truth anymore, that we are not able to perceive the love and the joy that comes from that truth. So we are like removing that by seeing it, or by feeling it, or by becoming conscious about it. And then slowly, slowly, this curtain of thoughts, of concepts, of ideas, of issues can be brought down. And by that, automatically, this stillness is showing up, yeah? Like we call it stillness because the mind has kind of like, it has kind of like no power anymore. So the mind is still, yeah? It doesn't mean that there is no thinking anymore, but the mind is thinking when it's necessary, not constantly commenting everything anymore. So the mind drops away into this stillness, or it's just like a servant taken when it's needed, but usually it's quiet. And then we perceive that stillness in which everything is kind of like happening, like directly. And it's just beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful when there is no judgment anymore about what we see, when it's just taken the way it is. And there happens like an automatic falling in love with everything. And I cannot describe why. There is no why, it just is like that. So I spoke about that love that's already like part of the source, or part of our being, of our like being natural, just being what we are. There is like this love is like naturally like interwoven. It cannot be separated from it. Like to me, it's like a cake in which there is like an egg. It's totally like together with the cake. It cannot be separated at all anymore. But like love for the practice can bring us to that deeper, to that, like I would like to call it primordial love, you can say. So there is no concept or idea anymore about love. But when we touch it, we automatically can feel that, oh wow, this is what real love is. But any kind of other love can also like serve as a bridge to get there. That can be devotional love, that can be love to a partner, that can be love to my work, that can be love to other people simply, that can be love to nature, that can be love to animals. So if we are kind of focusing on the love, this love can kind of bring us so deep inside that from there it's able to touch this primordial love. And from there, like in that moment, there can happen a deep awakening to the nature of all things and of what we are. What happened, I was quite successful in my job, and I was healthy, and I was young, and I had a great apartment, I had a fancy car, I made a lot of money, I had a beautiful partner. So everything was there, but I wasn't happy. And I remember one day, kind of one afternoon, like of lying in my bed in my beautiful apartment overlooking Munich, and I was wondering, like, how can it be? I have everything now. I have really everything right here. How can I not be happy? And what is it that's missing? And I was just asking for something to come, some book, some person, something. I didn't know what that could be. And it took 2 more years until I saw a picture of a mountain. And that mountain was Mount Kailash in Tibet. So immediately from my belly I knew I have to go there. And I watched a few movies about Mount Kailash. I didn't even know that it's like a holy mountain or a special place. I just saw a picture without any words to it. So after I found out it is that mountain in Tibet, I watched a few movies and I was always in tears when I saw the mountain, which made no sense to my mind. So I went there without knowing, basically, I knew almost nothing about spirituality. I didn't even know the Om sign. So I went there quite innocently, just for going, just because it felt right from here and from my heart. So on that mountain, I just had like a very, very big like opening, a kind of like, I would say like the mountain was at that moment like a teacher, probably through the strong energy field, what is there surrounding the mountain, kind of like breaking down this mental construct I was speaking before, and just revealing what is naturally there when this mental construct is not. And I could spend about 2 hours in that state, which is not really a state, but in that being, just being, without that mental construct on top. And what I saw is kind of like not really describable. I can just say parts of how it feels, yeah. It feels like a non-separation to anything. Like a sentence that came to me was, I am the mountain is me, for example, as a description, but it can only describe it, it is not it. Yeah? There was incredible big amount of compassion, of love felt, of instant forgiveness, and a lot of wisdom and knowledge also there. So all my answers were answered in that moment. And it was very, very soft movement to come to that place without any kind of like effort. It just happened, so to say. It just opened. Yeah. So that was an incredible gift. And when this mental construct came back, I was questioning, what was that? Was it real? And is it possible to live like without that mental construct constantly? That was a big question I had. Or was it just an experience that doesn't mean anything? And I started to read the books of Ramana Maharshi. And I just knew he's talking about that. And I did dive into the subject more and more. And I found that meditation is a great tool that can also bring me there. I could just feel that meditation is opening. And through that opening, also this mental construct is kind of like weakened. And there comes a possibility in the mind or in the being. I feel it's not really proper said, but through meditation there comes like awareness gets strengthened about what the mind is doing to overlay this natural state. And by just seeing what the mind is doing and feeling what the mind is doing, it's kind of like falling into pieces. Yeah. So that's how I came to meditation. So basically what I feel works like for most people, not for everybody, but for most people best, is to connect to what is. Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend any kind of like method that's done like from the mind, but I would recommend like methods that are like bringing us outside of the mind. So what I like to do is to do very, very simple meditation that bring us to have a calm mind, to calm down the mind. Because when the mind is calm, then we can see what is actually there, what is actually real. Yeah? And for that I like to use nature very much. Yeah? Or just the surroundings. So usually the retreats happen in beautiful nature. So it's about just simply being there, just simply feeling the ground, just simply putting everything that's kind of making the mind busy aside. And just letting us be there by listening to the sounds, by relaxing. Yeah? A lot of help can come through relaxation basically also. So I'm encouraging very much the people to relax in the retreats. So the meditation we are doing can also be done by lying down. It does not need to be, but sometimes it can be really, really helpful to let fully go, and that's more easy done when we are lying down. And through that calming down that automatically then happens, the calming down of the mind, it is more easy to see what is real, what is actually real, when our mind is not telling us a story about it. And through that, like a real deep awakening can happen, yeah? Or deep experiences can happen, which are slowly making kind of like a picture of our real nature. And this like kind of experiences are deepening and deepening and deepening. Insights are coming from that place of calmness. And usually also the questions or the methods that are helpful for us appear from there, which is very individual to everybody. So I'm trying to help people to find their very, very individual way there. And usually, or usually is not really right. Like what is happening is that from inside the past of each individual is showing up in that environment when we put our daily concerns aside for a while. And with that, what comes from there, we can work. So it's not that I'm saying what to do. I'm just providing that environment where there can be stillness arising, where the mind can calm down, where we can relax. And from there, a process is starting, which is kind of like crumbling down the mind, which overlays our true nature. But also if somebody has a practice already, one is warmly welcome through that practice to connect to that stillness, if that works better for one. Some people do mantra practice, some people do visualization, to come to that quietness inside, to come to that relaxation. So that's also warmly welcome. So just what works for yourself.